All right. Okay. So we are going into our next segment for today. Yes. Which will be simple hand sewing. Who can sew by hand? Who can sew by Sister Davina?
I think I can.
I can. You know, that
Okay.
picture you put in the chat is not on your group.
No, sis, I didn't send it. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Pardon me.
Oh, that's okay.
Yes, pardon me,
Okay.
sis. Anyone else can sew by hand?
I can sew.
Okay. Who has a sewing machine? Who sews by machine?
I do. Hand and
Okay.
machine.
Okay. Anyone else sews by machine?
I have 2 sewing machines, but I cannot use neither of them.
Oh. Who was that? Sorry, I did not hear properly. Who said they have
Yeah,
2 sewing?
yeah, but I cannot use them. So I'm happy that we're doing this class.
Oh, but we're not sewing by machine today. We're sewing by hand. Right. So we'll be sewing by hand today for 2 reasons. Sis, oh gosh, I'll mute your
Not
mic.
now.
Mute your mic, please. Okay. Right. So we're sewing by hand today for 2 reasons. One, I don't think many persons have a sewing machine. And 2, the time may come where we may not be able to have electricity to operate a sewing machine. Because I know not many persons have those ancient sewing machine where you use the foot and you know, well, my stepfather still has one where he uses foot and he do the pedal thing. It doesn't operate by electricity or battery or anything like that. It's manual. Right. And I know those are becoming distinct. And so we just want to learn. Sorry?
Extinct.
Oh yes, sorry. Thank you. Extinct. Thank you, my sister. Right, so I'm just going to read a short paragraph from Review and Herald, October 11, 1898. It says, our mission board says we need many workers for foreign fields, for Polynesia, Malaysia, India, China, and Japan, but they should be hardy, practical workers. Sometimes the highly educated children from the most popular schools are quite helpless and efficient in the mission field. Sometimes those who can read the Oriental languages cannot keep a set of accounts, and their reports are very perplexing. Train us men and women who will be thrifty, economical, industrious, who can teach the people the best ways to build houses, to till the soil, to cook, and to sew. Mothers should take their daughters with them into the kitchen and give them a thorough education in the cooking department. They should also instruct them in the art of substantial sewing. They should teach them how to cut garments economically and put them together neatly. Some mothers, rather than to take this trouble to patiently instruct their inexperienced daughters, prefer to do all themselves. But in so doing, they leave the essential branches of education neglected and commit a great wrong against their children. For in after life, they feel embarrassed because of their lack of knowledge in these things. Right? So, especially as mothers, for many of us, even as adults, we are so lacking. We don't know how to sew, we don't know how to cook, we don't know how to be a wife. We don't know how to do these things because we were not taught. from a child. We were not taught how to, keep the house in order and do these other things. And so it is upon us now to teach our little ones so that they too do not be as some of us are in terms of being deficient in these practical skills. And also it says that as we do the medical missionary work and we visit the homes, we are to teach the people these things, how to make their own garments. A lot of times persons they don't have proper clothing, or they don't have enough clothing at all. So we can show them how they can use even the sheets in their homes to make garments, or that which they have. Sometimes they'll say they don't have any clothes to wear to church, they don't have proper clothing, or so we can even show them how to alter their clothing to make it appropriate and such like that. Because altering, I know they have shops that do alterations to clothing. Like if you want, your if it's too big, they can alter it and make, especially persons that getting married, they alter it to fit the bride or even the groom himself. So they can alter the size, they can alter the length, they can put on sleeves onto something that is sleeveless. If something is torn or a button is missing, they can put on that, or they can piece in a material. So if you have a tear on a garment, they can put in a piece, and they can do it so well that unless you go really close up and scrutinize, you can tell that alteration would have been made, right? And then you have persons who can make simple garments from scratch. They just get a piece of material and they can make a nice dress or skirt out of that material. So these are simple things that we can learn how, to help ourselves, to teach our children and our neighbors, our brethren, and as we go into the homes of others, because these things are a part of the medical missionary work as well. Who can share, who they know from the Bible, who did dressmaking?
Dorcas.
Yes. Yes. And the
Lydia.
testimony, sorry?
Well, Lydia, she was a seller of purple. I'm not sure if she used to make, but I know she used to sell.
Right. So in a sense, she was involved in the work as well, because there are different aspects to each what you would say now, to each ministry. There are different aspects to that one ministry. So some they may, be able to put the material together, while some they actually sew it, and some they do fitting and alteration and so on. Right. So, and we know that because of the service that Dorcas did while she was alive, when she died, the whole neighborhood, they wept, because she would have clothed her ministry was to clothe those who were naked and those who were without. And, it was not just a physical thing that she was doing, but she was also doing a spiritual work as well. And so her ministry was greatly missed when she would have died, and God saw it fit to to bring her back to life so that she could have continued her work for a little while longer. All right, so today we'll be doing again just a simple demonstration. Excuse me 1 minute, please. All right, so I'm going to show you. All right, so this is so sometimes we have, okay, let me, Right. So sometimes we have clothes that become shorter, especially as we accept the dress reform message and we understand the importance of modesty, right? And how dressing modest, it has to do with our morality. It has to do with us giving glory to God and showing that it's a physical display of our understanding of Christ's righteousness and how we want to be covered. And it doesn't necessarily mean that because you're dressed properly that you are holy, but as we walk closer and closer with God, it will also be displayed in our dressing, right? And so as we accept the dress reform message and we realize that what we once thought was, the correct length and the correct width in terms of the roominess of our clothes and so on. As we accept the message, we realize that we may have to make alterations to many of our clothes, or we may have to get new clothes, but we don't always have to go and spend that which we already have. We can still do some alteration to it and make it into something that is acceptable to God. Right? So who will be sewing this morning?
I will.
I will try.
Anyone else? Anyone else have their dresses? No one else?
I will be observing.
Okay. All right. So the issue with just this dress, it has length. So it has length, but sorry. Right. So it has length. I'm not able to show it fully, but here it's very tight and almost suffocating. So let me show. So it's very tall, but it's suffocating and tight up here. So I'm going to, as Sister Veronica said last week that she would have, given away many clothes. So I do that as well. But sometimes I keep some and make alterations to them. Right? So let me show you one. So this was a dress for my daughter, which would have gotten shorter. Most of the time it's hard to find skirts that are of the proper length. And so I have to be trying to, alter some of her dresses that have gotten short to get some skirts for her. Right? So this was a blouse. Sorry, this was a dress. And so I would have removed the blouse part and then I put the elastic band around it. And so now she wears it as a skirt. Right? Let me show you this side. Right? And this one, for some of the dresses, they already have an elastic waist around them. So what you can do is simply remove the top part of it, and you may need to do a little adjustment to the waist. So you can probably just do maybe just a few, one or two gathering here and there. You have to do it so it doesn't bulge or anything, but just one or two gathering and just sewing them together, and then it's an easy transformation into a skirt like this one. So I just had to remove the top part. I didn't have to do anything to this one because it fits her waist already. So I don't have to do any gathering. Right? So if you have dresses like these for the elastic waist, you can simply just remove the top part and wear it as a skirt. And there's another one. Let me come in. All right, let me show you another one. Now this one was a kitchen. It was a kitchen curtain. Are you seeing it okay, right? Right, so this one was a kitchen curtain, and because it already had the hole where you put the kitchen rod, I just put in an elastic band and transform it into a skirt. Right. Okay. Alright. Right, so now we are going to actually do one together. Alright.
Okay. An idea came to me for those who don't have elastic band, the elastic. What they could do is cut the dress. If it has an elastic waist or a gathered waist, what they could do is cut it a bit above that area, and they could fold it over and put a string, a band from another string, a band from another dress or a belt or something through it, or a string through it, and you would just use that to draw the waist, like to make a draw waist kind of skirt if you don't have the elastic.
Quite agree with that also. As a person who sews oftentimes, I quite agree with that. I think the string was more modern than the elastic.
Sister K, you're on mute.
Okay, thanks. I was saying thanks for sharing. And that's it. That's the wonderful thing about these things. There are different ways that you can do them that still, still simple. And just different ways that can appeal to different persons based on what they may have. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to measure our. All right. So if you have, who said that they were doing? So you're going to, if your dress already have a waistline, it already have a waistline that you can detach.
Yes.
Right. So what you're going to do is simply detach it. You can use your scissors and detach it. Detach the top part. Sorry. All right. So for mine, I'm measuring the length that I want, and where my waist is. Well, I'm measuring it right to where my navel is. Right, because that's where I wear my skirts. Right at my navel. So I'm simply going to bend it there. And you want to leave a little room because the elastic will take about just a half an inch away from your measurement. So you want to measure it with an extra half an inch along with your length. All right. You can use a tape measure if you want. The measuring tape if you want. Or you can use a skirt that you already have and line it up with this skirt that you now want to do. If it is a loose skirt like this, if it is a loose dress like this that does not already have a waistline, but if it already have a waistline, you can detach it right where the waistline is. Let me show you. Right, so like this one, the waistline is here. So as Sister Lisa was saying, you could probably detach it here, give it a little room, And then with the extra, you would fold it under. Should have another one to detach now. Right, so you can just detach it just a little bit above the waistline. You can cut a little extra above the waistline, especially if you don't want it to take away from your length, then you do it up there, right? But if it has enough length, then you can do it right at the waistline. So you can simply turn it over and just use the scissors and cut it apart. All right, is that clear? Is that clear?
So the extra width that you need above the waistline is to account for the elastic waistband that you're adding in?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. So I'm going to, you can use your chalk or just something to mark the line. Again, if it's not a loose one, so I'm just going to cut it.
Some people use soap to score it.
Right. If you don't have any official clothes marker or chalk or whatever. Right, so I have detached it. I've detached it. Right. And now what you're going to do is to get the elastic. Again, if you don't have an elastic waist, you're going to use an elastic. You're going to attach an elastic, and you're going to put that, measure it on your waist. Again, you can use a tape measure, or you can just do it directly and measure it on your waist. So you don't want to do it too tight. All right, so you're going to leave at least I think it's proper that your finger should be able to, your pointer finger should be able to can freely go through it. Remember, our clothes not supposed to be too tight, especially that around the stomach. Many of us digestion is restricted because our clothes is too tight around our stomach area. Right? So right, I'm going to mark it right there, and then I'm going to cut it. All right. So that's sufficient for me. It's not slacking and it's not too tight, right? And remember, you're going to measure where you wear your skirt waist, because see, when I bring it closer down more to my hip, it's not too tight, but I have to be stretching it a little. So that's a little too close for me. But because I wear it up here at my navel, then that's fine for me. All right. So what you're going to do now is you're going to sew the edges of, you're going to sew the two edges together to form a circle, right? So you're going to get a light color, whatever color elastic you have, you want to get that color thread as well. And we know how to thread a needle, right? It's very easy. Right? We all know how to knot the needle. We know how to knot a thread, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Only
Right,
you
so just
have a different way.
right. So this is how I do. You just put it on, spin, and roll off. Right? If you want to have a little water on your table, a little thing with some water, just to wet your finger to help it to be a little bit more smooth, easy to go on. All right. Right. So what we're going to do is to sew them together. The two ends, you're going to sew it together. You don't want it to have a big bulge. Have some loose end here. You could probably use the light, a match to really get rid of the loose end. Right, so I'm going to sew it as thin as possible, meaning so that when I flatten it, it doesn't have a big bulge. So we're just doing, I'm not sure what this type of sewing is called, but let me show you. Right, so we're simply going in. We're simply going in and through, but then when you come down, you want it to form you want the thread that is hanging to actually form a loop. So you're pushing the needle back through that loop. All right, see, it forms a loop. You're pushing the needle back through it. That way, it's kind of securing the thread a little bit, and so that it doesn't, the end of the elastic doesn't unravel much. Or you could just push it. That's back stitch. Or you could just push it through, and then put the thread over it, right? So each time you want to be pushing the needle through like a hoop.
You know what, Sister K?
Yes.
When you put your needle in, don't pull it all the way through, and weave, because you have such a small space, weave it through and then pull it at the very end when you get to the bottom, where you get to the very end. You know what I mean? So you put the needle in, and instead of pulling it all the way through each time, put it in and then stop. No, stop. And now take your needle where your pointer is, where your right pointer is, and just push the needle through, and you weave the needle itself through that little short space. And then when it's all the way to the end, because it's such a short space, then you pull it through and you're all done. And you don't have to worry about your thread getting tangled.
Okay, let me see if this is what she's talking.
And then what I do is I would do that, and then I'll go back and reinforce it by going in the opposite holes, the opposite. So where there's a space, I would poke.
Okay.
To reinforce the stitch. You know, because you're using the needle. It's like you bend the needle a little bit to go right back through it. And then you only have one pull. You pull that thread, that needle one time, because you only have a little short space there. I do that for small things.
Okay.
And then I'll force it because you don't want any gaps.
Okay. All right, so it's not really technical. So whichever way that you can do it is just to really secure it so it doesn't unravel. And then when you're finished, you just make a knot. Just wrap it 1 or 2 times around the needle, and then you can just cut it. All right, and then see, now you have it together. Right? Right, so now you have a circle, and inside it's not a big bulge, right? It's very flat. All right, so now that we have our circle, our elastic circle, and our skirt, this one. You're going to turn your skirt on the left side, on the wrong side, inside out, inside out, and you're going to find the 2 side edges of your skirt. You're going to find the 2 side edges of your skirt, and you're also going to put your elastic in half, right? So in half with the side that you would have sewn, and the other half, and just flatten it. And you are going to put that on your skirt at the side, at one side. But with the skirt, you're going to put it halfway the length of the elastic. Let me show you. So this is the skirt. You're putting it half. Let me see. And then this again it's optional, but because I'm going to fold it just a little, I'm going to carry it full length because I'm going to fold it a little. I'm going to fold it down, so I'm putting it full length. And again, this is something that you can alter. You can play around with and see which one you prefer. But I'm carrying it full length to where the elastic is because I'm going to fold it a little just to have a neater finish. Right? And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to pin it. Hold on. Let me go again. Let me go again. All right, let me go again. All right, so you have the edge of the skirt and you have the edge of the elastic. You're going to put the elastic, put the skirt left inside out, and then with the elastic, you're going to put it on the outside of the skirt while you have the inside of the skirt. Right? So the elastic is actually on the outside, but you're working from inside. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes.
And somebody, Okay.
Could I see that again?
Right. So you find the edge of the edge, one side of your skirt and the side of the elastic that you would have sewn. You're going to match them together, but you're putting turn the skirt inside out. You're working from inside, but you're going to slide the elastic on the outside part. So the elastic will actually be on the outer part of the dress or the skirt, right? But it will be lining up with the skirt on the inside. I wonder if I should use a, I don't know if this black and white is very clear. Let me use, anyway. Right? And what I'm going to do is pin it. I'm going to use a pin to hold it in place. And as I was saying, because I'm going to fold it a little so it can have a neater finish, and the skirt won't be fully on the elastic eventually. So I bring it all the way up, and then I'm going to fold it in half and then pin it. I hope it's clear. And then what I'm going to do is keep the elastic in half, ensure that I find the half point at the opposite end, right? And then I'm also going to find the half point of the skirt as well on the opposite end. And I'm going to match the elastic with the skirt there. Is that clear? And then I'm going to pin that in as well in place. So now I have both ends of the skirt with the elastic on. And then now what I'm going to do is find the center of the elastic, which you can just fold it into. There are different ways that you can do it. So I'm just going to fold it in 4 now. At first it was folded in 2. Now I'm going to fold it in 4. Find the center. You can use your you can use a pin just to mark it, or you can use your chalk, a white chalk, where you could just fold it and mark everything first, and then you just easily pin them on. You understand? So like what I find there, let me show you.
So Sister Canadian,
Yes.
just a minute. So you cut the elastic and you join the waist first, and then you're gonna attach it to the skirt. No.
Yes.
You're gonna pin it and then you stitch it on.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're pinning it first so that it can have proper gathering and sew to be sewn properly.
Okay, good.
Right. So I'll show you another way how you could easily find the different areas to put the pins. Sorry. So you sew the elastic in the circle, then you fold it in half.
That is a 1 inch elastic, right? Because in the thing you said 1.5 inch. So this is a 1 inch.
This is
What size elastic is that?
1.
Okay.
Right. So you could mark it. You could make all your markings before you actually put on the elastic. So I fold it in half, then I fold it in quarter. So you would mark it on both sides because it's going to open. And then you can fold it again. Just find the half. If you don't fold it, just find all the half sections. you know, just, you can use a tape measure, your measuring tape or your ruler. This thing is not white enough. So when you mark it like that, when you put it in your skirt, you can just attach the pin on each area. All right, let me go back to this. All right, so I'm finding the half point again, right? When you find it on the elastic, you also have to find it on the skirt. It will be different on the skirt because the skirt is bigger than the elastic, right? And then I'm just going to just slide the elastic into the skirt area to the top and just do a little half fold. And then I'm going to pin to hold in place. Same thing on the other side. Find back the half point for the elastic. This one already have a marker. Find it back on the skirt.
So when you're done, the elastic waistband will be half on the, it's going to be half on the one side and half on the other. I'll say the one side is, it'll be wherever the seam is on the skirt, the elastic is going to be half on one side and half above and half below that seam.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So I did 4 pinnings already, but because it's still loose in these areas, I'm also going to find the half point area in the section between these 2 pins and the elastic here. I'm going to find it in half. You simply fold it in half, find where the middle is. Do the same thing with the skirt. Find where the middle is and pin. Same thing over here. Find the middle, fold in half for the elastic. Find the middle of the skirt, pin. And even if you're using the sewing machine, you would do this first. Unless you're using the gathering option on the machine, you don't necessarily have to do it. Maybe you don't necessarily have to do it. So again, I'm just finding all the half point till as much of the material is pinned and not hanging in this place. So Daisy and sister, was it Sister Iska that's doing hers? You getting along?
Yes, I am. Thanks.
Yes, but I'm doing mine a bit different because I don't have the elastic.
You want to share with us how you're doing it?
Well, the dress that I cut, it has an elastic band in it. So I just cut it about, I cut it above that elastic. I cut it about 2 inches above that elastic and fold it over. So I'm bending it back onto that elastic that's already in the waist.
Okay, great. I want you to show us the picture when you're finished.
So, okay. If it's too loose at the end, I'll just run a band through it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Right, and this is how we have to be. We have to learn to improvise, because we know that we can't always run to buy that which we may think we need. That which we have already, we can simply utilize it, and it still create something wonderful. So the same material can be used as a belt, in the, you know, like the draw skirt kind of like thing. You just make loops, and you can put the just put the elastic through it. Sorry, not the elastic through it. You just make a you know, like a, what do you call it?
A fold, a bend.
Yeah, like a belt like thing, a cloth belt, and run it through it. And that can also make, you know, a quick, easy skirt. So I'm just securing a few more pins. Sister Davina, you want to share with us about your sewing? How you transform your especially your kids' clothes, as you were sharing. So Davina, maybe she stepped away. You may not necessarily need to attach so many pins, but I'm just touching a few. Just a few more and I'm finished. Right, instead of doing it on the, instead of using the pins, what's right, so I'm finished gathering, I'm finished pinning it. I'm finished pinning it. Let me see if let me just turn it over for a moment to show you what it looks like before it is sewn. So I'm finished pinning. So it's practically a skirt now. I just need to actually sew it together to secure it.
Can you bring it close to the camera again? I just want to see if what I was saying is correct. So you're pinning it. This is the outside that everybody will see, or this the inside?
No, this is inside.
Okay, so this is the inside. So that elastic is folded half in and half out, right?
The elastic is not folded at all. I don't fold the elastic, but that's another way that you can do it. That's another way that
it was folded.
Huh?
I thought the elastic was folded. Is part of the skirt, the material is folded.
Yes.
Oh.
But if you have a bigger elastic, you can simply fold it on it if you want. And that's what I'm saying. There are different ways of doing it. But that would kind of be a little bit bulgy. But you would need a bigger elastic too. So you just have the waistline of the skirt and you bend it. You'd have to probably iron it to flatten it well to get it in half. But you could just bend it over the edge of the skirt and just pin and just sew it. So that would also work. That's another option. Yeah, I don't really like that option, but that's another option.
But if you look at the one you just did, then okay. So what I think I understand is that point to the outside, the inside of the skirt where all the pins are. So the elastic is half where those pins are. The elastic is half below there and half sticking out. Not
Yes.
sticking out above. And then flip it a little slowly. Just flip it so I can see the outer part. Yes. So the elastic will be half on the material and
half on your skin.
out of the material.
Right.
Above the material. I get it. There it is. Half below and half. Okay. That's what I thought it was being bent, but I understand now. It's half below and half above the skirt itself, the waistline of the skirt. I understand.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So
I guess my question is, when you go to the store to buy elastic waistband, what do you need to know? Like, are they all the same strength? What am I trying to say? Tightness? You see how that elastic band is? When I go to the store to buy an elastic band, which I've never done, do I just need to know the length, or do I need to know how taut or how tight that waist elastic is? You know what I'm trying to say?
right. I think this one is a little bit tighter than this one, but I don't think you're going to really I don't
What
think
she
you're
could
going to
do based on the elasticity, she would do her measurement based on the elasticity. So depending on the strength of the elastic, she would measure it around her waist to see how it would come together when it's stitched, to see how tight or how loose it will be, and then she would just adjust the elastic to match, to get that fit that she wants, that feel that she would desire.
Okay. Okay. Right. And another thing is that when you go to buy the elastic, you will just buy maybe a yard or 2 yard or so, and then you are going to cut it and measure it on your waist to get the level of tightness that you want. Right? But if you're talking in regards to the strength of the elastic in itself,
yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I need to know. How do I know?
okay. I'm not sure if it's that really important.
Okay, good.
Because
I like that answer.
Right, because it's not like it's going to be lifting weight. It's going to be holding weight, where you will need something that is super strong. But if you are thinking of something that is more breathable or so on, then I can understand. But in terms of strength, because this one is very tight. This one is very sturdy, while this one feels a little bit more freer. So then you can go ahead and you can examine the texture, the texture,
The tautness of it.
right,
How taut it will be. Yes.
Okay, that you prefer. That's just personal choice. So if you want one that this one has more friction, what is it, tautness? Yeah. Right. This one feels this one, yeah, it's very sturdy. But this one, it just feels very free. And I would prefer this one because it feels very and that's why even with this one, I wouldn't make it too close to my skin because it's already too it has a very sturdy material. This will suffocate you, while this one feels much freer. So I just wanted to show you the difference on this skirt. So what they do is they gathered it first, and then they just simply attach it to the elastic waistline. So you see, it's just a small attachment to just a minimum. This is not even. It's almost at the end of the elastic band that they attached it to. So that's why I'm saying you can attach it how much further if you want the entire thing to come. You don't want to carry it too close up to the end of the elastic because then it's going to be you know, especially if you tuck your blouse in, then the fabric will be sticking up over the elastic, and that's going to look very untidy, right? So you want to carry it just enough so that if you tuck in your blouse, none of the fabric is showing inside. You understand? So it
Yes.
doesn't matter how much how much tall you attach the skirt. That's personal choice. As I say, just don't carry it up too close so that the fabric is showing out of it. So you can put it halfway, you can put it 3/4, or you can barely attach it, you know, to the edge as they did with this skirt. As I said, it's literally on the edge. Because let me show you. So this is the outside of the elastic waistline, and the stitching is right here. So they just barely attach it to this elastic waistline. Right? But mine, I'm doing it halfway. So you can you can play around with it based on personal preference. And also the length, the width of the elastic also makes a difference as well. So what I'm going to do now is sew these together. There's my needle. Is that my needle? Where is mine? All right. I'll find my needle. All right. So what we're going to do now is just to sew them together. We're going to stitch it together. Let me see what time it is. All right. Let me try and speed along a little.
Do you know how to replace a zipper by hand?
I think I would have tried already.
Maybe one time in the future, if time allows from your planned agenda, maybe one time you can show us how to replace a zipper.
Okay, we could do that. We could do some simple alterations.
Thanks.
We want to show us simple skirt, like from, you know, turn a sheet into a skirt. Just simple skirt. All right. So what I'm going to do now is to, say if you had a sewing machine, you just zoom, and in probably less than 2 minutes you're finished. So what I'm going to do now is to sew this. I'm attaching the skirt to the elastic. And so I'm just simply removing the first pin. There's a thread pin.
What if you have a dress that doesn't have that hemline where it separates the kind of top part from the waist part? Do you just cut it and wing it?
Right, that's what I did with this one. This one did not have a waistline. This one was
okay, my bad. Sorry.
Right, this was a straight. So you just measure based on the length and you know where and you just use your ruler or your measuring tape and measure it and cut. All right, so I'm going to attach because this is the corner edge. I'm going to do a little sturdy attach here. So I'm just doing basic. This is what running stitch, just in and out. Call it a tangle here. Tangle. Oh boy. Yes. Yeah, so these are things that we can, you know, simple things that we can teach persons, you know, as we minister to them. Sometimes you go to person's home and the children's clothes are torn, or, you know, And remember, we should go off with a little sewing kit in our bags. You know, they sell them in the store. Just some small thread and needle. You can walk with these in your bag. Sometimes somebody button the you know, they out on the road and the button fall off. You know, work with some pins, because pins are a part of the whole sewing thing. You know, person's always asking for pin. I need my thread keep getting tangled. I'm going to do over. So my needle, my thread got tangled, so I just cut that off and starting over. All right. So we start from the inside. You're simply going in and out. So we said this is running stitch. So you go and stay at the because it's the bulge is the corner is here. You just sew in here a little bit. So you're running it in a few times just to secure it properly. And then I'm going to start now. So I'm going to I'm doing basic running stitch. You can also do back stitch to secure it more. So I could go in, I could gather a few of them at a time. Let me show you. You can do it closer if you want. And then as you reach the next pin, you remove it and you continue. Uh-oh, I made a mistake. See that now? I went the wrong way. So I will definitely have to start over. I think I didn't reach too far. Because this...
Can you show your mistake? No, seriously,
Okay.
we learn from them. Seriously.
All right.
Can you show us what you did so that we'll know that's not the right way? Seriously, I'm not seriously.
Okay, fine. Right.
Because we will do the same thing.
So the needle was out and I should have come back in from this direction, but instead, because I guess I got distracted when I removed the pin.
You went over. See, said the blind man. I understand.
Right, and so it caused this, where the thread is going over the top of the elastic. Right? And then if you walk around with this, then persons will definitely know that is you just trying a thing.
Thank you. Yes,
right.
I've done that before.
Right, so you have to keep focused, else you will be, unless you're going to.
But I see you cut it, but you didn't make a knot from the last.
Because I'm just going to start over, seeing that I didn't reach far enough.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you have gone a long way, what you could do is cut and then make a knot here. Just cut with some room and then tie it here and make a knot so that this cut don't unravel the rest of the material that you already attached. You understand? So if I had reached further, instead of starting all the way over, I would have just simply make a cut and just tie a knot here and start it from where I made the cut. Understand? You understand?
Understood.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thanks for responding. Let me go again. And also, if you wanted to do a little gathering, like say for instance pleats, what you could do is you could make the pleats on the, you'd have to do it before you do the pins. So say for instance where this pin is, I wanted a more pronounced pleat, then you simply bend your material like this and make the pleat. Right? When you fold it like this, then it will form a more pleat-like. You see? You see what I'm talking? When you bend it on the inside, if you want your skirt, especially if it has a lot of material and you want to make it have a more pronounced pleat-like form, you simply gather it and you fold it based on whatever size you want your pleats to be.
Yeah.
So you fold it and then you would pin it. And so as you sew, it will sew it, and then turning it on the right side now, it will have that, right, it will have that form. It will form those pleat likes. All right. So let me get sewing. I want to wrap up before 12. And these are things that you can do in the evenings, you know, especially as, you finish your day's work. You don't want to do it at the start of the day because it does take time. It does take a little time. In the evening, even as you listen to your sermons or your books, or so you can utilize that time to do a little sewing, little sewing project. And so as you reach the pins, you remove them because the pins are just basically holding the material in place. If you don't pin it, then you won't get especially because the material is bigger than the elastic. When you reach to the end, you're gonna have a lot of material left and no elastic to put it onto. And then you may start bulging it together. And then when you put on that skirt, part is smooth and then part is bulging.
So you have to do that little crease there when you see that your material is bigger than the space left. You have to put that crease there, right?
Yeah, more than likely you will have to probably start over. You'll have to do it over.
No, I'm saying like as you're doing it now, you know to put that crease because the space, there's more skirt than elastic. And that's how you know to put the little folds so that it lays nicely.
Right. Because when you put the pin the pin actually helps to portion out the material itself, so it's balanced out with the elastic. So if right. So I'm out of thread, so I'm just going to retread. How do you say using? Yes. Anyone wants to share their sewing experience? What do you sew? You know, some persons may find delight in sewing curtains, sheets, cushions. Anybody wants to share or how they use their sewing as a ministry? Anyone? No one?
Can you repeat yourself, please?
No, I was just asking if anyone wants to share their sewing experience or how you use sewing as a ministry, or even to support your family. Or I know some persons they sew school uniforms, they sew sheets, they sew curtains, and they do it as a means of providing. Some persons they do classes, so there are
So
different. Yes.
I usually sew just about anything, household and garment constructions. It's just part-time. I've never gotten to go full-time into it because of other family responsibilities. I did, I think was 2022. I did had a training in garment construction, a 3 month training. And I'm looking forward to having a home furnishing production training for, hopefully I wanted was to do it for the ending of this year, but I think I may have to put it for next year from January. So one of the things that we need to pay attention to, which you would have said when you were measuring where you want your skirt waist to be, you said you usually wear your skirt on your waist, which is across your navel, and that is the true waist. So for some of us as women, we put our skirt waist, or to say in the modern fashion industry, they mostly put the waist at the hips, which oftentimes can disfigure you depending on how often, how tight, and all that you wear that clothes. So it's best that you use your natural waistline, which is from your navel right around. That's your waistline, your true waistline. So that's one thing I wanted to point it out, which you would have shared.
Okay. Thank you, sis, for sharing the you know the health details behind it. I was just thinking just out of preference, but thank you for sharing. Alright, so one thing that I'm doing, because I'm trying to go fast just to complete it.
Yeah.
But let me just mention that you see when you go out, you can on the inside you can go as wide, well not too wide, but you can go as wide as maybe a quarter inch or so or half an inch on the inside. But you see when you're on the outside, you want to take just a little piece just to keep your thread concealed as much as possible. Even though it's a light colored thread, it's black, you really don't want much threading to be shown. So I would have started, taking it too wide, but that's fine. As I say, I'm just trying to finish. But when you go on the outer side, you just want to take in as little as is possible. Understand? And as I say, you can do the back stitch as well. You can go over it and just wish it's not necessarily because your skirt not going to, it's not that it's carrying weight where it's going to get torn easily. But if you want, to secure it a little more, you can do the back stitch. All right, let me try and hasten on. Anyone else wants to share? And then you could also put the elastic on the inside. You could, let's say you have options. It's not everybody wants the elastic outside, so you could put it on the inside as well. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes, where you can quickly, it doesn't take that long. It doesn't take that long. It doesn't take that long. I'm making some sharp cuts of threads. I have to be rethreading. And you just, to make the knot, you just push the needle through the fabric on the inside and then push it back through it, and you just create a little knot. There are different ways that you can make. Alright. In about 10 minutes and I'll be finished. Just have a small part left. Sister Daisy, you finished?
Yes, I am.
You want to show us? Or you're going to send the picture?
Going to send a picture.
Okay. Sister Iska? It was Sister Iska that was making it?
Yes, I was.
You finished?
No, not quite.
You having challenges?
A little bit.
You want to share what the challenges are?
I think where the sort of gathering, that's where. But I think I
Where
will
the
just
one?
the gathering and the pinning there. I think I will have to take my time and sort it out a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
But I understand.
Okay. Once you understand, that's fine. You'll get it. Practice makes perfect, right? Just as with our character, each day we have to be walking with the Lord. It's like we're practicing to walk His way, and by, as we purpose, He gives us the victory until we are walking perfect and upright, wanting nothing. So we continue to try and persevere. All right, so let me just do a quick run through. And I have transformed a lot of my skirts, a lot of my dresses into skirt, especially for my daughter. I do a lot of as I said, some of the dresses I think them too lovely to cut, and so I give it away. And then there are others that I cut the top off and just sometimes, as I say, I don't necessarily have to put in an elastic band or anything. I use the same belts band, like I use that sometimes. Sometimes I just have to do a side stitch at the side and it fixed it, you know, so it's not falling off her. Alright, I'm almost done.
I got everything out, but I fixed
And
that.
so you see, I'm finished, and there I don't have much material left. So I reached back to the where I started. I was doing one, and when I reach here, I have a very big bulge of material, and that's because I realized that I didn't put in sufficient pin, and so you know. And if you remember how much bigger the skirt waist was from the elastic, and how you know it's all now the same as the elastic. So Matilda is practicing. She's practicing. And so we finished. Remember to practice safety with your pins. Don't just pull them out of the skirt and just drop them anywhere. You know, you can stick them back into the pin roll or just stick them in your cushion. But don't just put them anywhere. So now that I'm finished, what I could do is, this is the outer part. What I could do, I could also run another one here. I could also double stitch down here, the same thing that I did up here. So I'm showing you. So I wouldn't wear it like this with the stitches this big. I would do it smaller, right? But just so you can see it, right? So I would also you could wear it like this. You could wear it like this, or you could also stitch down here at the edge. So it's stitched on at two parts. Alright, so let me show you the inside. This is the inside. So obviously my material was not cut straight, but that's fine. I can still go and trim if I want to, or it's fine, it's on the inside, but just to be neat and tidy in all things. So here was the gathering was not as smooth. Let me turn it on the outside now. So because there was not much material to gather, you're not going to see much of in terms of like pleats or so on. But for a material like this that have a lot of space, it would give me more gathering. Right? This would give me more gathering. And so you could have like a pleat like fluffier look. So if you're making the skirt from scratch, then you would do more gathering and then you can get that fluffier look. I like clothes that has a little volume to it, where it's not all straight like this sticking on. I like it with a little bit of volume and thing. So let me show you. Let me see. So this was basically the waist of the skirt. This is the top part, and then this is the elastic. So you see that there isn't much gathering that took place because it was not so hold on. Right, so the waistline was not so wide, so I didn't have a whole lot of materials to gather. You understand? Right. Versus this one, as you can see, this
Yeah.
this waist, let me see. So this waistline versus this one is a little wider, so I would have a little bit more gathering on this one. So it depends on the waistline will determine how much gathering you will eventually have. But let me all right, you see with the bottom stitch, it's good to do the bottom stitch because it kind of it gives it a smoother finish. So I think I did have a little, seems like I had a little gathering issue right here. All right, there was a little gathering issue right here. As you can see on the material itself, one side is, or maybe I'm not finding this. Right, one side is a little bit, there's a little gathering here. You see what I'm showing you?
Yes, it's
So
a little bunched.
right, so it's simply, and I saw it from I was doing it inside, right? This side was not as, I guess it was not measured properly right there, but it's still fine. So this, let me
Yeah,
see
it
if I
looks
can,
nice.
let me see if I can, let me just show you.
It looks better.
So I can hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. So you can see it, right? I should have chosen another color other than black, but are you seeing it okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Alright, so you, as you can see, it's fine for me. It's fine. And let me show you with the waist. See, it's free, but it's not falling off me. It's not falling off me, and neither, see, my hand can go through it freely. So my blouse, and I have on my skirt. So with my undergarments and my blouse, it would fit perfectly without you know restricting my circulation and my digestion. And it's the length is fine. Hold on. Right, the length is right.
Yeah, I love the length.
Yes. Right. So yes, so I'm
Do
finished
you
with
have to
it
do
now.
things a little differently? Do you have to do things a little differently if you are heavier in the front or heavier in the back so that your skirt doesn't look hiked up in one area? Do you know what I mean? You ever notice like someone with a larger bottom or a larger stomach, when they wear a skirt or a dress, it's the length is not even going around? It's like a drastic difference.
I'm not sure what could be done about that.
Okay, that's what I was
But,
asking.
right. And I guess material, type of material would also make a difference in terms of the appearance as how it would look. So maybe just the material. I know you're talking about with like high and low. I
Yeah,
guess they would have to, maybe they would just have to meet their skirt, taking that into consideration, maybe to cut it that way, so when they actually put it on, it's showing even. I'm not sure if that answered. If anyone else would like to respond to that. Mr. Pompey,
What
do
was
you
the
have any?
question, please? I'm sorry. What was the question?
Ask again, Sister Veronica.
what do you do, or is there anything you can do for persons who have a large rear, or I guess a large stomach, so that the skirt, when you put it on, is the same length?
For the larger rear persons, you measure their skirt length from the back. So you take from the waistline over the butt, under and down to the length which they desired. So that way the length that you have for the skirt will accommodate a wider hip or a higher butt. And the usual measurement for skirts, you are supposed to drop the back of your skirt. When you're cutting it, you're supposed to drop the back about 1/2 inch lower than the waistline, so it can accommodate a better shape. I don't know if that would have answered your
Yeah, so I guess when you're making the dress to the skirt, you don't have to do anything because your skirt probably already doesn't do that. I don't know. But I like your answer.
Okay.
I'm not ready to make a skirt yet.
Yeah, so when you are reusing your dress for a skirt, it's the same principle that you need to take into account. So when you're cutting it, you make sure that the length of which you are cutting can accommodate the size of your hip or your buttocks. So you may need to cut it not from the side length, but from a back length, so it's long enough that when you put it on, it can reach the desired length. I hope that would have helped.
Okay, thank you, sis.
Thank you.
Thank you, sis. Any other questions or comments or any other tips? Any other questions, comments, tips? No? No? All right, let me. So I was just showing you how you could also put the elastic on the inside. I'm just trying to do it quickly. And then just sew it on. Did anyone try the hair oil or the body butter or the paint salve that we did last week as we wrap up? Anyone did theirs throughout the week? No one? Well, even if we're not trying it, I hope.
Still getting some of the ingredients.
Okay. Alright, so I'm showing you how easily you could just put it on inside as well. Okay, I'll send it to you. I'll send the link. Alright, so it's very easy to just and oh let me so you see if you don't have the elastic, you could just measure a piece of string with your waist and then just you probably have to use a just a little side cut and apply a button. Or just fold it down like this. So say this is your card, this is your waistband. You could just do the gatherings. Do some gatherings to make it up to your waistline. And then just attach the material to it. Just sew the band to it. Just sew the waistband to it. And then you can just tie it at the end. There are different ways that you can easily turn it into something wearable that they looks neat and modest and will glorify God. All right, so we don't have any more questions, no comments, no tips. So we will end.
I sent you pictures of mine.
In this and okay, let me check first. Okay, so I'm going to. You can look in the. Oh, you're finished. You're finished this, yeah?
Yes.
Hold on. Okay. I'm just adding Sister Day says
How do you share the picture in the Zoom chat?
you just click on the little plus sign. Just go in the chat and there's a little plus sign. You just click on it and you'll see photo or file. How do I
Okay. I gotta pay attention to that. Still nobody, Ginger? Nope. Good for you. Wow. You get to get some reprieve and some.
Okay, so we see Sister Day says skirt.
Yes.
So is there elastic in it or no?
So they say.
Oh, there's
So
a the dress it had an elastic in the waist, so I cut it above that elastic as shown in the picture. And then I folded it over. So I cut it about 2 inches above the elastic. So it like you're doing a high waist, and then I folded it back over and stitched it onto the elastic. So the waist is like a band, but then if it's too loose, you can run another band through it. Yes, it was done by hand. I did everything free-handed. I didn't measure anything. I just cut and folded and sewed it by hand.
Alright. Let me see if I can show you a little of what she's talking. So this, right? So this is the waistline. This is the waistline. So this is the waistline. So you should have cut it up here, right? They say a little bit above.
Yeah, way above the waistline and then fold it back down.
Right. So you're going to fold it down like this. Fold it down to the waistline, to the actual waistline.
But then because I had more material, well, so it was about probably 2 times that amount over, and then fold it back onto the waistline and sew it onto it. So it creates a band at the waist.
Right. Now let me see if I can so this was already cut. This was already cut. So you have a dress, cut it with some of the material above the waistline, above the actual waistline. And then that which you cut, you fold it over down to the, did you fold it all the way down to the waistline, or?
I folded it, and the edge of it would touch onto the waistline.
Okay.
Yes. Right, like that. It's just that mine was cut a
With
bit
more
more
room.
above. Yes.
Yes.
So it would create like a band at the waist. So you would cut it depending on the if you want a 1-inch band waist or 1/2-inch band waist.
Okay. So I was trying to see if I could all right. I can't find a dress to cut right now. So let me just try and use this one. Let me just, as she said, she did cut it with more room above, right? But I don't have as much, but I'm just going to use what I have. So I'm inside out using the, all right. So because I want I'm going to use it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put a belt in. I'm going to put a belt in and fold the initial part over it. I'm just going to pin for time's sake.
Now, the way you're folding it, is the belt going to show? Because you want that belt to show, right? So you're showing us inside out. Is that what it is?
No, the belt is in. The belt will not be shown inside. I'm doing it as a draw one. But again, you can do it outside. You can simply sew it outside, attach it to it.
Right.
But it's just a different version of what Sister Dacia did. But just for demonstration purpose. We all got what she said she did, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just showing you another way that you can also do it. So just cut with some extra room and turn it on the inside. Put your belt in You're not going to sew the belt because you're going to be drawing the belt. The belt will be used as the elastic or as a belt. You could sew it first and leave the space as with a curtain, and you leave the space for the rod, and then you use a pin and push this through. But I'm just doing it this way for. And you could also do it on the outer part and just tuck it under and neatly sew it in. You could do it that way as well, you know. I will do it that way. Okay. I'm going to do it on the 5 more minutes and then we'll close. So I'm going to do it on the outside. On the outside. And, you know, Christ told us to gather the fragments, so, you know, sometimes we don't always have to throw out the clothes. Even sometimes they may get a little old, but you can just transform them and wear them in the house, in the yard. Just transform them into skirts and wear them in the yard. Why did I take off this? Pardon me. See, I'm just creating a channel, a tunnel for to pull the belt through. And then I would just stitch it around. Just stitch it around. Probably have to cut a little hole to get the top of the belt out. So pin it around. It's not all neat, but it's just a little casing to run the belt through, right?
Okay.
But for the front here, I would just create a little opening so that this is not coming from the inside but the actual outside, right? So this can't fit my daughter's waist. So with this now, she could then pull it and you know, to her size.
Sister
Right?
K, Sister K,
Yeah.
couldn't you have sewn the waist down first and then the piece the ribbon that you have inside, you use up and run it straight through? Could you have done that?
Yes, sis. You could have done that. So that's what I'm saying. You can do it different ways. You can do it different ways. right?
Can you
So
repeat what she said? Because I couldn't understand her.
go again, sis.
I was saying that she could sew the waist down first, and then she could the ribbon that she put in, she could use like a pin and run it all the way through and cut the 2 holes in the front and run it through.
Yes, you could do that. Just like a curtain.
Yeah.
Right. So there are different ways, or you could just gather the skirts to fit your waist, and then you just sew this around it as a little band. I think that's similar to what Sister Dacia did. So there are different ways that you can do it and still achieve something nice. Right? Alright. So we'll end here for today, and I am really trusting that we will, you know, do something, try it, and you know, also, you know, share it with somebody. You know, show them the before and after how you had us dress. You know, especially as somebody that you may be encouraging in terms of modesty. You know, show them how you had a dress and it was short and you were able to transform it into something, you know, a very nice skirt. You know, they may be encouraged to you know, make adjustment to their dressing as well. And you know, even persons who are, because a lot of times one of the excuses that we, well, not excuse, but one of the concerns that we shared is that we can't find skirts or dresses that are for us. So this is one of the ways that we can do something that will make it for us, right? As God would have encouraged us in terms of modesty and morality and all of that.
Okay.
Right?
You
Yes,
don't
sis?
know the machine, right? You just can use your hand for all of this?
Yes. I don't have a sewing machine, and not everyone have a sewing machine. And as we minister to persons, not everyone will have a sewing machine, especially with the younger generation. So, you know, we have to practice to do these simple things with hand. And as I say, it's not all that technical, it's not all, some of them, they may be a little time consuming. So you can do a part of it today and then tomorrow evening you finish it or whatever. While this one that we just did, that can easily be finished in an evening, depending on the time that you have or whatever. So they are not super time consuming, and we are counseled not to spend all our time sewing. Right? But at the same time we are to be sewing. Right? So you can make it as you know, your little even delight.
Can Mateo sew?
She's here sewing. She made a headband.
Oh,
She,
let's see it.
she's here. This is what she did.
Oh, wow.
Right. So she's trying. She made her belt.
Oh, that is so good. Is she 7?
Yeah, she's 7. So you know, the little children can learn. You can get safe needles for them, even to start embroidery. Or you know, there's something that they can do. Crochet. You know, they have needles that don't. Right, they have needles that are not so pointed, that are a little bit more child safe and so on. So they can learn. As I said, that you know, her stitches are not all straight, but she's still doing it, and she put her waistband on the inside, fully on the inside. Right? Some persons prefer it on the inside, while some don't mind it showing. Alright.
Amen. Good for her. Good for you. Good job.
Yeah, so they can sew, and even the elderly persons, you know, a lot of elderly persons, they are sitting at home and they're feeling so useless. you know, you can get them a pack of, you know, those who are still able to manage them if they're not so shaky to hurt themselves. You know, you can get them a sewing kit, and or you can say, Mama, show me how to sew. You know, they'll be glad to share, because they will feel like they still have some form of worth. You know, and if they are not able to manage the needle, the small needles, then you can let them crochet, because a lot of persons, these are things that they used to do. You know, it helps to keep their minds and so on. And for those who are skilled in it, you can teach little children, even in your community or in your school, in a church. You know, gather them on a Sunday or a day in the week, and just let them sew simple things, or crochet, or embroidery, or so on. And you know, just to keep their minds in the right line. All right. All right, let us pray to close.
Let us pray. Our loving Father, God who created all the universe, thank you for this class. Thank you for everybody who were able to participate. Please be those who aren't able to make the products. May you bless them, and may they be able to make it another time. Please be with those who have had the time and things to make the products. Please bless them, and may they be able to share with others. May we have a wonderful day as we go throughout this movie. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
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 Can
Yes,
I see what
sis.
it's doing? Can I
Sorry,
see?
I didn't.
Sorry, can I see what Michaela is sewing?
Right, so the elastic is fully on the inside. Again, you're going to do your pinning, so that is, because if you don't pin it, then, you know, you're going to have all of this material left. And if you're doing freestyle gathering, you would still have to know how much to gather. But you would do the freestyle gathering here, but alright. So you want the elastic to be just slightly, just a slide below, right? And it's on the inside. So you start in the needle from the inside. And remember, because it's at the edge, you want to just give a little extra support. You just go run it in and out a few times, just to hold it in place.
So are you sewing it right now for the end product, or this is just like that's...
All right, let me just do it and done then.
Oh no,
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 it's
honey.
fine. It's fine. If persons want to leave it, they can. I'll just do it. I'll just do it nonetheless.
So when it comes on the outside, you don't see the stitching, or it's it's hidden? Like
Hold
with
on.
in and out. Okay.
Hold on. Hold on, Sister Tamara. Let me just do it proper and done. So we're going to pin, right? So we would have measured our elastic. So with the edge, we'll find one end of the elastic and the corresponding end of the skirt. So you're going to pin that end. So with the next half, folding it in half. Also, you're going to fold the skirt in half. Find the corresponding center, and you're going to pin. But because we're doing it on the outside, you want to fold in your edge just a little. So you don't want the loose edge. So you're going to fold it just a little to seal to conceal the edging. You understand? and you're putting the elastic just a little below the top of the skirt, right? Because you want to conceal your elastic band, so you're going to keep it just a little below. So we have secured 2 parts. So you're going to find the other half of the elastic, fold it in 2. Likewise with the skirt, fold it in 2. And you're going to pin. Same thing over here. Alright, so I've pinned all 4 parts. So with another, what's this, a quarter? With one of the quarters, I'm going to then fold it in half again. Finding the half point again and pinning. And the half point. And pin. Uh-oh. If you don't do the measurements correctly, what you will find is a little bulge on one ear. So if you don't want to do it freehand, that's how I'm doing it. You could simply put it on the table and find the correct measurements. Use a ruler. But usually just bending them in half between each point works. Right, so that's enough pinning. That's enough pinning. Let me do this quick. Alright, so you're going to start from one. All right, so remember, because we're concealing the elastic, you're going to bring the top of your skirt just a little bit, just slightly above. All right, and start on the inside. And just run it through a few times just to secure it in place. And simply in and out, in and out, in. All right. What I'm going to do, so you see I have a lot of bulge here. If I don't pin here, then I may not get the correct sewing. So what I'm going to do, instead of pinning it, I'm going to create a little pleat like. So I'm going to bring it halfway to the elastic and then fold it over. This is going to give me a little. Halfway to the elastic and then a little over. Or you could do 2 pleats there, but I'm going to do 1. So I could either pin that or just hold it with my hand until I reach there. So Sister Tamara, to do the running stitch is basically coming out a little piece in, because you don't want your needle to be your thread to be showing. So you're going to put a little bit, you're not going to do too much of a wide gap for the thread. You're going to put it as close as possible for the outside. So you see, you're barely seeing my black thread. You're not really seeing my black thread unless you come up close. But on the inside, you can do a wider space because it will not be showing. You understand?
I don't understand that. I don't see how you did that where it doesn't show.
All right. Let me go again. So I come out with the needle. Out as in on the outer part that will be showing. Now I'm to go back in because I don't want the thread to be showing much. I'm going to put it very close to where I came out.
Oh, okay.
Right, very close. So you will only see a small or very little of the thread. Well, it's black and black now, so you can't see. But when I here where it is on the yellow, you can't really see the black because I went very close. Right? But you don't want to go too close because sometimes when you go too close, you go back through the same needle hole and then the thread come back out. Right? So I went right, I went just a little bit from the needle hole that I came out with. Now when you're on the inside, you can do a much wider gap from where your initial needle hole is, right? So you see, this is where I came in and I'm going to come back out here. You understand?
Yes, thank you.
Right, so I'm coming back out again and I'm going back in again with the small space. So this is basically running stitch, in and out, in, out. So I reach my pleat now. So this will be held in place with the sewing. And this one in, out. So let me show you again here. I'm out with the yellow and I'm using a black thread. If I take a very wide space, then it will be too obvious. So if I put, let me show you. If I No, I don't want to. Let me show you. If I should put it all the way here as I did on the inside. Let me get a little bit more closer. So if I should put such a white space between it, then this is what it will look like on the outside. So I'm not going to come that wide. I'm going to go very close to where I came out. So go back in. And so this is what it gives me instead. Right? And you want to keep an even going in and out between each other. Right? So I'm going in and out. I'm going to show you what the back stitch look like from the inside. I'm not going to do it on there. So you just keep going in and out. You want to ensure that when you come out, you're also sealing the edge of the pleat. So you see, this is where the edge of the pleat is. You want to ensure that it is sealed. It is down, so it's not bulging up. Right? So you want to bring it as close to the edge of the the pleat. Right? So here I've secured one pleat already. You see? So if you have you could use the iron and press it down so it form the pleat actually all the way down, or you could just iron it and just let it stay like that, so it's not actually forming a complete pleat, but just like a gathering. Is that Tamara? Is it Tamara, you're here? All right, so I'm finished. I'm finished now. All right, so let me show you. All right, so as I say, it's not, you could leave it like this. You don't have to pin this down. You don't have to kneel, I was going to say kneel. But if you want to, you can. So what you would do is to continue the the pleat to the end of the elastic on the inside. So if you want to sew, do a double sew. So you find the end of the elastic and you you're going to continue to sew the pleat in line, and you just do the same thing around. So you just gather the pleats, continue around and gather the pleats, and then you would have it you know, like that. So this is it with the elastic concealed and with it gathered somewhat to complete. All right. All right. And for some persons, this may be a little bit bulging, you know, flipping up. So as I say, you can just secure it by doing the stitch down here as well, just the seam. And it will make it more of a waistband kind of thing. All right. All right. Was that clear?
Good job. Thank you, Chris.
Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome. All right, so we'll end here now for today. Again, thank you again for participating, and may you have a wonderful rest of the day and also a wonderful rest of the week. And God's will, we'll see each other next week. All right, take care. And remember to share your pictures as
You gonna
say bye-bye.
Bye.
Are we praying to close or no?
Okay, we could pray to close again. So let's
Oh,
close
we
again.
prayed already. I'm sorry. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine, but we could pray again. Dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you very much for this extra time in continuing to learn a little bit more. We ask that you will inspire our hearts and bless our hands as we seek to become equipped, not only spiritually but also practically. I pray and ask that you will be with everyone, those who were here and who left and who are still here, and those who didn't get to join in, and all our families and all our circle of influence. May you be with us as we go through another week, and may we have an experience with you that will draw us closer to you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, can you just
Amen.